Welcome to CloudGenera's Cloud Cost Optimization webinar. This is the first in a series of new webinars that we're launching to inform our friends out there in the market on the best techniques towards managing costs in the cloud. For those of you who may not be familiar with CloudGenera, we are a company that specializes in helping organizations make better cloud cost optimization decisions. And today our focus is going to be on a topic of cloud governance. Many of our subscribers are struggling with how they govern the use of their contracted rates and their committed spend contracts. As an organization, they're trying to get the best value out of their spend on technology, and as such, they negotiate agreements at volume to be able to get excellent discounts. And the challenge they have, the larger the organization, the greater the challenge is how do you govern the use and the spend around these contracts? So that'll be the main topic of our webinar here today. Digging a little bit deeper, clients are struggling to drive consumption of committed use contracts with their cloud service providers. Their leadership frequently will commit to multi-year spend with multiple providers. And today, those providers come in the form of companies that provide infrastructure, either that's run in the data center or run in the cloud. Platforms, so think services that reduce the amount of labor, reduce the amount of support to deploy a particular type of technology. A database would be an excellent example. And lastly, software as a service. So applications that can serve as alternatives to infrastructure and platforms. Again, the challenge is how do they drive awareness and how do they drive consumption of these contracts that they've established with their preferred suppliers? And the questions we commonly hear our customers asking are, how do we ensure the business units are aware of these available contracts and discounts? And how do we avoid duplicate spend? As an example, one of CloudGenera's customers in the insurance industry has a very decentralized operation. And one of their struggles is that they've made a very large multi-million-dollar annual commitment to a particular cloud service provider. And to meet that commitment, they need to consume their infrastructure and they need to consume their applications. They get credit for when they deploy virtual machines in their cloud. They also get credit when they download and they leverage applications that are available for purchase on their marketplace. And this is an emerging trend that we're seeing across companies. More and more, they're purchasing their software through these marketplaces. And what they're struggling with is how to ensure they govern either existing contracts for those same applications, where if they bought it again through the cloud marketplace, they would be duplicating their spend, as well as avoiding their business and their business partners from buying applications separate from the marketplace, not being aware that that counts towards their committed use contract. And again, one of the big challenges we're seeing in the market is how can a business drive awareness that these contracts exist, that these discounts exist, so that when technology is being purchased and deployed, they're getting the best value for their spend. Second governance challenge around these committed use contracts is how do they accelerate mapping business priorities to the best fit and approved supplier solutions? There are a lot of options available in a business today. There are a lot of contracts that could serve a single need. How do you determine which contract and which supplier is going to give you the best value for that spend? And it's a challenge, again, that many businesses, but definitely the larger businesses, are struggling with on a regular basis. It's as much a supplier governance issue as it is a cloud adoption challenge. From CloudGenera's perspective, we have a solution. We've created a self-service portal and an API service that business can use to govern these procurement and deployment decisions. And next, what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at this solution in action, and we'll talk about a couple of other customer use cases. But first, let's take a look at CloudGenera's solution for cloud cost governance. CloudGenera's point of view is that one of the ways to help drive awareness and help drive the right consumption is to give a business a structured, repeatable workflow that they can use to make these decisions. And to make it even easier, we allow organizations to define their standards, their use cases that are applicable to their business, and thereby help them govern the use of their supplier contracts, but do it in such a way that it's engaging to their end user. Being able to surface the different use cases that they see their business leveraging again and again, whether that be we need to build a custom application and we want to compare different cloud providers, or we're enabling remote work, or we're expanding a remote workforce, and we need to invest in access to our business for that workforce. And commonly today, that's being done in virtual desktops and hosted desktop environments. And then there could also be application-centric use cases, things like collaborative apps or enterprise resource planning. And we do a lot in manufacturing, so manufacturing engineering systems as an example. The concept is to be able to publish to a portal or to an API these common use cases, and then guide a user through a simplified process of decision-making. Pick the use case, pick the application type, provide them with reference architectures that reflect scale and complexity of a deployment to make sure that the recommendation matches what they will likely need. And then give the ability to customize a configuration and select the different suppliers or the different venues that are authorized for use. And just to double click on this aspect of the governance capability surfaced through this self-service portal, giving the end user the ability to provide their input, but also being prescriptive and structuring their evaluation process is one of the ways that you enforce better governance. The second way you can enforce better governance, as enabled by this solution, is to restrict the different provider options available to them to select from. Another application of this governance technology we see frequently isn't just the horizontal application to drive consumption of committed use contracts, but it is also to assist independent software vendors in configuring their apps and helping their customers decide where to run their apps. And whether it's one of these independent software vendors or just a business who needs to manage a lot of technology and has common applications that they deploy again and again, the ability to ensure you're governing which provider can be evaluated for which use case under which conditions is an excellent way to drive the right consumption of your contracts. And in some cases, it will ensure that the solution is deployed in a way that it can be supported, not just getting the best spent. Now, after that four-step process, the main output of this governance utility is a scorecard. Scorecarding helps the end user visualize their options and determine which options are the best based upon the needs of their business. And so through scorecarding, again, you can govern the decision because you're only showing them the options that are supported. And you can also drive consumption of the services and the solutions and the discounts that you've secured for your business. And so in this scorecard, what you're seeing is a comparison of Microsoft Azure, Microsoft Office 365, and Amazon Web Services to support our use case of wanting to deploy an Exchange application as a collaboration solution for our business. You can see clearly that this engine, in its approach to driving better governance, evaluates service level, security, and technology needs, as well as total cost of ownership. This is important to ensure that a business gets the best value for the spend. It's not about always looking for the cheapest solution. It's about finding the solution that will best meet your needs and the needs of your business. These scorecards are actionable. At the level we're seeing here in our demonstration today, we get an executive summary, but detail down to the services that you would configure and how you would configure them, and the unit costs associated with those services, and any gaps. Observe, none of these options is a perfect fit. Each of them have some level of gap around technology. The detail around those gaps also comes as a part of the output of this software. And again, the spirit of this is to help drive awareness and to help drive consumption of these contracts in a much faster, much more efficient way than manual methods. Our most advanced customers and subscribers to the CloudGenera platform leverage this governance capability both in the portal you're seeing as well as through an API. They embed this decision-making capability and this governance capability in the workflow of their DevOps process, as well as in the planning phases of new application deployment. That concludes our demo of CloudGenera's cloud governance solution. I'm going to open up the opportunity to ask some questions in chat, and then we will chat about the next webinar CloudGenera will be hosting soon. So let's hand it over to the chat and see if we have any questions before we talk about next steps. Also, for everyone's convenience, Beth Wallace has put the link to the application we demonstrated today, so you can feel free to try that out yourselves if you'd like. Okay, we do have one question that I see here coming from our social media channel about cloud governance. And the question is this just for planning for new application development, or is it applicable for existing applications? And the answer to that question is yes. CloudGenera offers both the solutions you see today to be proactive in planning around your applications and establishing governance around your contracts. But the same solution can also be leveraged to look after existing applications. And so if you want to apply this same sort of decision-making proactively to existing deployments to make sure they're in the right venues and configured the right way, that's an option as well. Okay, any other questions from the group at large? Okay, well, the last thing we're going to go through before we wrap our webinar today is to talk about our next topic. In our next topic, we're going to talk about cloud cost planning and ways that you can be proactive in estimating costs and selecting the best venue for new application deployments. It's a very synergistic topic to our topic today around cloud governance. Cost planning and cloud governance go hand in hand to ensure that you're optimizing your cloud spend. And so our next webinar, we'll spend another approximately 20-30 minutes chatting about utilities and approaches CloudGenera sees being very effective when looking to implement FinOps practices in your business operation to proactively manage cloud spend through better cost planning. Thank you again for your participation today. If there are any questions, please feel free to follow up with us at cloudgenera.com. And we'll schedule some additional time to chat through the cloud governance topic or any other topics that might be top of mind. Thanks again and have a great day.